The 2009 NBA draft is without a doubt one of the greatest draft classes we have had in the past 10 years in the NBA. Blake Griffin being taken number 1 overall, James Harden being taken number 3, and Stephen Curry being taken number 7 overall, and DeMar DeRozan being selected 2 picks after that. The lottery in this draft was absolutely incredible. But out of all the prospects that would go on to become All-Stars and MVPs, none of them won Rookie of the Year in 2009, while Blake Griffin would win it the year after, as he was injured in 2009. The winner of the Rookie of the Year award was Tyreke Evans that year, and for the entire year, general managers and fans alike were frustrated by the fact that they did not take Evans when they were given the chance. Tyreke Evans was one of 4 players to average 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in his rookie year. The other 3 players were Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James. That's some incredibly elite company to be in, and the future just seemed so bright for Tyreke Evans and the Sacramento Kings. So what happened? Hey guys, FlightMike here, and before we get to this video, I wanted to let you know that I have developed a system to figure out how you guys could directly influence what videos I make. All you have to do is comment which player you would like to see a video on next in the comment section, and after doing so, I will take 2 suggestions from the comment section, most likely the ones with the most likes, and run a poll on my Instagram story for you guys to vote on. I'll be doing this to determine each player I should make a video on, and this way you guys could directly choose what content I make on this channel. I'll leave my Instagram link in the description down below for you guys to follow. And before we get started, I wanted to thank all of the old subscribers that have been rocking with me for a while. Bro, it's been almost 4 years. And I also wanted to welcome the newest subscribers to my channel. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tyreke Evans grew up in Chester, Pennsylvania, and attended high school there, drawing comparisons to Tracy McGrady throughout high school. As a senior in American Christian Academy in Aston, Pennsylvania, Evans would average 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals per game. He was named the MVP of the McDonald's High School All-American Game and co-MVP of the Jordan Brand Classic with Brandon Jennings. He was considered a 5-star recruit by Rivals.com and was listed as the number 3 point guard and the number 6 player in the nation in 2008. After flirting with the possibility of committing to Villanova, Tyreke Evans would go ahead and commit to Memphis, who at the time was coached by John Calipari and was fresh off of a national title loss to the Kansas Jayhawks, and had just lost Derrick Rose to the NBA. Tyreke Evans transitioned from playing small forward in high school to guard in college. Evans began his college career as a shooting guard until John Calipari inserted him in the point guard position during the 11th game of the season versus Cincinnati, where he would almost put up a triple-double with 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. Finally, Coach Cal officially found his replacement for Derrick Rose. After this win, Evans would lead the Tigers on an incredible winning streak, as the Memphis Tigers would not lose another game until they lost to Missouri in the NCAA tournament. Tyreke Evans would go on to declare for the 2009 NBA draft and was selected by the Sacramento Kings with the 4th overall pick, which is directly after James Harden and 3 picks above Stephen Curry. Tyreke Evans immediately seemed like the most polished player in the draft, averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in his rookie year. But despite all of his individual success, the Kings would wind up with the 5th pick in the 2010 NBA draft, which would put them in prime position to draft DeMarcus Cousins out of Kentucky. Now, when you pair a player who is in the company of LeBron James, Oscar Robertson, and Michael Jordan with a transcendent center prospect, you're gonna get nothing but good results, right? And that's not exactly what happened. Evans would wind up with 18 points per game, 5.6 assists per game, and 4.8 rebounds per game. And while on paper that may seem like a slight regression, it's more like stagnation because his production hasn't dropped off completely. Sure, he did average 2 less points per game, but it's not like he dropped from 20 points to 14 points per game. The problem is that Evans would stagnate at this point and get worse, as in year 3, Evans would average 16.5 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 4.6 rebounds per game, until his final year with the Sacramento Kings, where he averaged 15 points, 3.5 assists, and 4 rebounds per game before being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. So what exactly happened? There are a number of theories I could throw at you that have no data and no analytics behind them. But I'm only going to give you guys one of my theories because I don't like talking about things on this channel unless if I have the evidence to back it up. If you look at the Sacramento Kings, historically they have either drafted terribly, drafted incredible talent and failed to develop them, or drafted great players and let them slip away. Let me give you a few examples to support my claim. In 2010, the Sacramento Kings drafted DeMarcus Cousins, Isaiah Thomas, and Hassan Whiteside. If you went to NBADraft.net in 2010 and had a preview of 2011 early enough, you would see Hassan Whiteside was projected to be taken #1 if he stayed at Marshall for one more year. So the Sacramento Kings came out with probably one of the greatest draft hauls we've ever seen in 2010, as all three of those players would become great players in the NBA. The Kings would put Hassan Whiteside in the doghouse and undervalued Isaiah Thomas. Whiteside would be released 4 years later, and we all know what happened with him. Isaiah Thomas was traded for Alex Oriaki. Yeah, exactly. I have no idea who the hell that guy is. The Kings would draft Thomas Robinson in 2012 and would trade him 4 months later. And here's something you need to know about young talent that is traded. Once you're traded, the organization that acquires you is no longer as invested in you as the previous organization is. You weren't scouted by this team, they didn't give up a top pick for you, and you are no longer a franchise cornerstone. So yes, I think an argument can be made that the Kings ruined Thomas Robinson's career, because once you get traded from your initial team that drafted you so early, you are officially tainted. Ben Mclemore was considered as one of the most athletic players in the 2013 draft class and was even seen as a top pick at some point. For one reason or another, he fell to the Sacramento Kings at number 7. Despite having a shooting guard who can hit the three and was uber athletic, the Kings were not able to develop Ben Mclemore. So as you can see, the Kings have definitely hit on some players and they have failed others. In Evans' case, the Sacramento Kings for some reason decided to use him more as a shooting guard and small forward as opposed to a point guard. They did not have the foresight to see what was happening to the point guard position. For example, Ben Simmons is currently 6'10" and is playing point guard for the Philadelphia 76ers and is absolutely destroying the competition in his rookie year. The Sacramento Kings figured that since Tyreke Evans was 6'5", he was too oversized to play point guard and decided to use him at other positions despite him performing the best at point guard. Tyreke Evans was never a great shooter and wasn't the most athletic, but despite this, he thrived as a point guard in his rookie year. Like Ben Simmons today, Tyreke Evans was able to bully the much smaller point guards that matched up to him and was able to use his 6'11" wingspan to gain a defensive advantage on them. His lack of shooting did not matter because he was able to drive to the basket and dish the ball to an open teammate if the defense closed in on him, as opposed to playing small forward or a shooting guard where you literally need to be able to spot up in the right position to score and know how to move when the ball is not in your hands. But fortunately for us, this story has a happy ending. Tyreke Evans would eventually get acquired by the New Orleans Pelicans in a sign and trade deal in an effort to give Anthony Davis more help. But the Pelicans would only replicate the same mistake that the Kings made with Evans, playing him at the 3 as opposed to the 1, which would only magnify the problem. During his final year in New Orleans, Evans would average 9.5 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds per game before being traded back to Sacramento in the famous DeMarcus Cousins Buddy Hield trade. That offseason, Tyreke Evans would sign with the Memphis Grizzlies and would revive his career. Through 35 games, Evans is averaging 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game in 30 minutes, which is 8 minutes less than his rookie year. Since Mike Conley went down, Evans has averaged 20 points and 5 assists per game. Now you may be wondering, why is Tyreke so successful once again? When you look at a Memphis Grizzlies game, you'll notice that every play runs through Tyreke. He brings the ball up and sets up the play, and is currently one of the 2 quality playmakers on the Grizzlies, the other being Marc Gasol. Rarely, if ever before, has Evans played this well, and certainly not for this long. He is in complete command in the half-court offense right now, able to get where he wants on the court, but also now able to make shots from all areas. This last part is the new development in his game that has taken him not just back to the level he was at in his rookie year, but sneaking past it. Evans is shooting 47% from the field this season, which is the second best mark of his career behind a 47.8% mark in his last season before leaving Sacramento for the first time, and far ahead of the 40.5% he shot last season when departing Sacramento for the second time. But not only is he making more shots, he is making the more valuable ones. Over the past 2 seasons, Evans has significantly improved his three-point shot from being a big weakness of his to a significant part of his offensive repertoire. And this season, it is better than ever. Shooting 41.4% from three-point range on 5.2 attempts per game this year has brought his true shooting percentage all the way up to 57.9%, the best mark of his career. Massively better than the 50.1% he shot last season, and better also than his 52% career mark. Given that Evans' game is still based around his own scoring ability, it is imperative that he is doing so efficiently. The pull-up twos are now raised straight up threes, or occasionally dribble between the legs for a bit then raise up threes. Either way, there are threes now instead of deep twos. And with that, Evans is a big scoring threat according to his 19.4 points per game on the year, his most since that rookie season. The ball is in his hands as opposed to out of his hand. And after betting on himself on a 1-year, $3.29 million deal with the Memphis Grizzlies, Evans is in line to make a lot of money once again this offseason. To play Tyreke's style in the NBA means having to be so good as to be a team's best or second best backcourt playmaker. He needs to dominate the ball, which means he needs to justify having the ball in his hands so much, which means he needs to be better than the other options. For a couple of years, he wasn't doing that, but now he is. And with that, Tyreke Evans is back. Do you think Tyreke Evans is going to be able to keep this up? Besides that, be sure to comment down below what player we should cover next. Remember, the top 2 suggestions with the most likes are going to be taken onto my Instagram for a poll to decide what video we should do on which player next. Besides that, guys, I'm your boy, TheFlightMike. I'm signing out, Mike Mafia.